Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat.
Resolves.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello everyone, this is Jumbo Commander and I am so flippin' excited for Zndrsplt and Okaun. Zndrsplt Eye of Wisdom is a lovable homunculus. For 4 and a blue, you get a 1/4 and it partners with Okaun Eye of Chaos. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, draw a card. I love having draw a card on your commander, it just feels so great. And finally, we get some commanders that synergize with coin flipping. Let's look at Okaun, Eye of Chaos. 4 and a red for a 3/3 Cyclops Berserker, and it partners with Zndrsplt. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, double Okaun's power and toughness until end of turn. We've done it. We've assembled the coin flip commanders. I'm so excited, and these feel so wonderful. They're both Cyclopses, and they work together to have one set of eyes. Do you notice also that they have horns on opposite sides, and Zndrsplt is literally riding in a mini chariot attached to Okaun's arm. These are just silly and awesome, and that's what this deck is going to be all about. It's going to be a coin flipping deck. Okay, but before we get into all the coin flipping, we have to kind of understand how coin flipping works. Then we can properly assess what's going on with these commanders. So I have a rule to read for you. It's rule 705.1. To flip a coin or an object that cares whether a player wins or loses a flip, the affected player flips the coin and calls heads or tails. If the call matches the result, that player wins the flip. Otherwise, the player loses the flip. Only the player who flips the coin wins or loses the flip. No other players are involved. Okay. Actually, let's just jump back to Zndrsplt and Okaun, because they say whenever a player wins a coin flip. That means it doesn't have to be you. If your opponents flip a coin and win, then you will also be drawing a card. This rule clarifies a situation that could be confusing. For example, if you flip a coin, one could argue that there's always a winner and a loser. Does that mean that you always draw cards or always double power and toughness? No. The rule says that the person that flips the coin is the person that's the winner or the loser, and no other players are involved in that flip, even though the reading of these older cards might make that sound confusing. Hopefully that clears it up. So it doesn't matter who does the flipping, that is the person that either wins or loses, and whenever they do win, you get to draw a card with Zndrsplt and double it up with the Cyclops Berserker. Now there's one other rule I want to cover, and that has to do with just coin flipping in general. If an effect has a player flip a coin but refers to whether the flip came up heads or tails, that flip has no winner or loser, so those don't trigger our wonderful generals. That is so disappointing because we just had a coin flip card printed. Two-headed giant. It deals with coin flippies, and you think you want to jam it in this deck, but when it doesn't synergize with your commanders, it just makes you feel bad. And so that makes me sad, but I shouldn't be sad because I'm dealing with two of the happiest, most enjoyable, flippy awesome commander cards ever. So the first thing we're going to do is look at all of the best coin flip cards out there, and we're not going to look at all of them. You can search them up and find out which ones you want to put in your deck, but we're going to put a bunch of them in here, and I'll talk about some of the best ones that make us want to run a coin flip deck. But after we include all the best coin flip cards, what comes next? Because there aren't that many, and we're going to include cards that aren't that good. So where does this deck go? How do we move on from this point? Well, some people build this deck and go down the road of chaos, and I actually want to caution you against this. Maybe some controlled chaos could be good, but I'm going to get into the idea of chaos and how much of it we should have in our deck. But the first thing we want to do is look at these commanders and find out how we can flip some coins. And by far, the best, most wonderful card in any coin flip deck has to be Krark's Thumb, a 2-mana legendary artifact, and if you would flip a coin, instead flip 2 coins and ignore 1. This improves the coin flip odds tremendously. It's amazing. And so if you're trying to win, it's no longer a 50-50 chance, it's more like a 75% chance of actually it's exactly a 75% chance of you succeeding in your coin flip. It's great. The next card is the reason why we play coin flip decks, and that's Chance Encounter, a 4-mana enchantment, and all you have to do is win 10 coin flips and then you win the game. Granted, you also have to make it around to your upkeep, but still, you win the game. Next up, we have the best coin flip card ever printed, and it's Mana Crypt. This actually makes me disappointed because the best coin flip card, so good it enters into tons of decks that have nothing to do with coin flipping, is like an $80 card. This should be a fun deck, and it makes me feel bad that there are monetary restrictions on it, but here it is, Mana Crypt, the best coin flip card, and hopefully you have one already or you're able to pick one up cheap so that you can throw it into this awesome deck. But there are other powerful coin flip cards. Planar Chaos is insanely powerful because it's just gonna start countering spells. The best situation is when someone tries to disenchant Planar Chaos. Everyone leans in, and everyone's secretly hoping that it gets destroyed, but it comes down to a coin flip. I love it. And then there's some other coin flip cards. Stitch in Time gives us extra turns, and it's a really efficient cost if we win the coin flip. To be honest, I'd rather pay 2 extra mana and get a guaranteed extra turn rather than get a 50% extra turn for 3 mana, but it's a coin flip card, so it's going in. And then Ralzeric rarely gets up to the stage where it's a coin flip, but if you do get up to the flipping, you flip 5 coins, and if you win, you get extra turns for each win you get. Quark's Thumb basically means that Ralzeric wins you the game. Game of Chaos can have you winning multiple flips. You just have to either keep winning or have an opponent that's willing to keep playing the Game of Chaos with you. Maybe you promise to them that you'll attack a different opponent and they will keep playing until your Okaun just gets doubled up and doubled up and doubled up and doubled up and you take someone else out of the game. And it's all just one big game of chaos. Squeeze Revenge, you have to keep winning, but you get a wonderful reward of card draw if you just win a few flips. If you're excited about coin flipping, then I suggest you run cards like Fork and Mizzix's Mastery. And the reason why these cards are good is because they can support the best coin flip cards. Because the quality of coin flip cards goes downhill dramatically after a few pretty good ones. And so you want to be able to rebuy them or copy them when the time is right. Let's talk about some coin flip creatures. For the most part, they're pretty bad. There are a few that are very, very good. Let's look at one of them, Frenetic Efreet. Frenetic Efreet is 1 blue-red for a 2/1 Efreet with flying, and for 0 mana you can flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails, blah blah blah. Basically, if you win, the Efreet phases out. That's winning? Okay. Otherwise, bury your creature. DJ, I thought you said that this was a good coin flip creature. It is, actually. It's because this was written in a time that they didn't realize the consequences of their rules text. Because you can just keep activating this Frenetic Efreet for 0 over and 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 over again. And no matter what ends up happening to the Efreet, whether it phases out or gets destroyed, it doesn't matter. But you still have that many coin flips on the stack. Let's take a look at how they fixed it with Frenetic Sliver. All slivers have 0. If this creature is still in play, flip a coin. See, so they added that little bit of rules text, if this creature is still in play. That means that if you were to activate this a bajillion times, the first time the sliver leaves, all the other effects on the stack will just be like, nope, not in play, nothing happens. Nope, not in play, nothing happens. But the Frenetic Efreet doesn't have that. And so, you get as many coin flips as you have activations. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you can draw your entire deck with Zndrsplt. You could stack as many of these triggers as you want. You could make Okaun as infinitely big as you want to, because with every win you just keep doubling the power. And with Chance Encounter, you can easily put 10 luck counters on it. It's a luck counter. That's wonderful. Be careful with Zndrsplt though, because the draw ability is not a May, which means that if you activate Frenetic Efreet 1,000 times, you will deck yourself. Of course, there is the added benefit of donating or harmless offering your own commander to your opponent, then activating Frenetic Efreet 1,000 times, and with every win of a coin flip, you force them to draw a card, and then they will deck themselves with your own commander. Ah, yes. That is what chaos and coin flipping is all about. Let's explore a few other creatures that aren't as good as the Efreet. Skyclaw Thrash is actually an okay body, and you get a coin flip every time you attack. Carpulsin Minotaur though, this has got some text on it. It's a 4 mana 3/3 Minotaur warrior, and it has a cumulative upkeep of flipping a coin. Oh, I love it. So that means that every single turn, you're gonna flip even more coins with this Minotaur. Whenever you win a coin flip, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. I like that, especially if we're winning a lot of coins. And by the way, it doesn't just say whenever you win this coin flip, it's like any coin flip. Oh, even better. Okay. Whenever you lose a coin flip, oh, that happens. Carpulsin Minotaur deals 1 damage to target creature or player of an opponent's choice. Oh man, that's not good, because it could take out your Zndrsplt or just take out the Minotaur itself. But wait a second. You're running the coin flip deck. You shouldn't be the first priority at a commander table to eliminate. So if you're losing flips with Carpulsin Minotaur, don't you think you could find a friend at the table to redirect that damage at a different opponent? Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to run this Minotaur. Crazed Firecat is pretty good. When it comes into play, you flip a coin until you lose a flip, and then you put that many +1/+1 counters on Crazed Firecat. So if you are winning a lot of flips, this thing can get huge. But it's a 7 CMC 4/4. Creepy Doll. Not as powerful as Stuffy Doll, but you still get yourself an indestructible 1/1, and whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy that creature. Wait a second, so it's just crappy Death Touch? Still has you flipping coins, okay. I mean, but we really start going downhill. I'm not going to go into all of the bad cards. I just want to point out one. Goblin Artisans. You may tap Goblin Artisans as you cast an artifact, then flip a coin. An opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in the opponent's favor, your artifact is countered. Otherwise, draw another card from your library. So it's a 1 mana 1/1 that gives your opponents the opportunity to cancel your own cast cards that you've already paid mana for in exchange for maybe drawing a card. Oh geez. See, this is the dregs of coin flipping. Are we forced to play creatures like this? Well, there are a few more creatures that are not creatures. Molten Birth is a pretty good card. 1 red for a sorcery, puts 2 1/1 elementals on the battlefield, and if you win a coin flip, you get the spell back in your hand. That could be pretty good. And if you are lucky with your flips, you got a thumb out, you could keep casting Molten Birth over and over again. A Wirefly Hive is a 3 mana artifact, and for 3 mana, you can flip a coin, and if you win the flip, you get a 2/2 flying artifact into play. So for 6 mana, you get a 50% chance at a flying 2/2. And if you ever lose the flip, you destroy all of the Wirefly Hive tokens that you've made. God, the coin flips are so, why are they so bad? And some of them are so good too. So really, we're gonna have to just sit down and figure out what cards to include in this deck, because I cannot see myself playing Wirefly Hive. I just can't. It's just so bad. But do our commanders give us enough incentive to play cards that are this bad? Clearly, the one thing we can get out of this is that our commanders are the most valuable coin flipping cards in our deck, and we need to protect them. But it's also really nice that we have easy access to them. So let's pretend that we have a lot of creatures on the battlefield. I'm going to pretend that I've cast Molten Birth 5 times. And then I have cards like Impulsive Maneuvers and Fighting Chance, which I love if I can flood the board with creatures. Whenever a creature attacks, flip a coin. Basically, if you win the flip, it deals double damage, and if you lose the flip, then the creature deals no damage. You prevent that damage. It's almost like a super big Desperate Gambit, which I'll also run in this deck. And Fighting Chance is a 1-mana instant. For each blocking creature, flip a coin. If you win the flip, that creature deals no combat damage this turn. So both of these, if we have a board full of creatures, will give us a ton of different flips. I like that a lot. I honestly think that these cards are powerful enough that I might want to pursue a strategy that puts creature tokens onto the battlefield. Maybe I'll look up a card like Metallurgic Summonings, because it will reward me for all of the weird coin flip cards I have, reward me for copying my spells, and when I have enough artifacts, I might be able to activate the ability and get back a bunch of my other coin flip cards. So I'm going to run with the idea of creating some tokens as sort of a sub-strategy to this coin flipping deck. And if I'm creating a bunch of crappy tokens, how about a card called Risky Move? 3 red. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player gains control of Risky Move. When you gain control of Risky Move from another player, choose a creature you control and an opponent. Flip a coin. If you lose that flip, that opponent gains control of that creature. Amazing. So we're going to have some crappy creatures to Risky Move to our opponents, but our opponents might have some great creatures around. And it all has to do with picking. You get to pick the creature and the opponent. So that might mean giving something great to another opponent so that we can use it against a third enemy. Now, let's talk about embracing chaos. We've already embraced the chaos of coin flipping, so what other forms of chaos can we incorporate into this deck? I'd like to talk about Goblin Game, a 7-mana sorcery that has us playing a game of hiding things and losing life. It's awesome and requires everyone to just kind of take a pause to play a mini game inside of a game of Magic the Gathering. And I've finally featured Goblin Game in a deck tech, so you guys can stop mentioning it in the comments. But wait a second. Before I go down the rabbit hole of all of these chaotic cards, I actually have a concern about chaos. And the reason why is because this deck is not shaping up to be very good or very powerful. It can do some powerful things, don't get me wrong, but coin flipping by its nature is problematic. And when we rely so heavily on our commanders, we're easily disrupted. So we have the ability to do something powerful, yet we're easily disrupted and we get in our own way. That actually has the makings for a very frustrating deck. So if I were making a coin flip deck, I would make sure that I had a lot of other just good cards to supplement my coin flipping strategy. So at least I'm playing Magic, I'm in the game, I'm competitive, and I'm flipping a few coins here and there. I think that if you take a problematic strategy like Chaos and combine it with another problematic strategy like coin flipping, then suddenly your deck is all over the place and it's not functioning and it's not fun. So I would keep the coin flipping to a controlled package rather than playing every coin flip card and then going deeper for every chaos card. If you do want to add a little bit of chaos, may I suggest some chaos that works in your favor? I mean, obviously you still include Goblin Game, but how about Gamble? Gamble's just a great red card, but it's got that chaotic element, so it should fit in with this deck. And also, you have a combo deck, kind of. You have the ability to combo off. Imagine gambling for that key win condition, that chance encounter to really close out the game, and then, gamble it straight away. It'd be great. Or a card like Chaos Warp. It's wonderful removal, but it's chaotic at the same time. Or Disrupt Decorum. This is a card that will let you get your gigantic commander, Okabamam, in to deal a bunch of damage and probably kill someone, but it also sows the seeds of chaos at the table. How about a card like Sunbird's Invocation? This is a classic. People are playing it all over the place. I throw it in so many decks, but it has a feeling of randomness along with it too. But it's not going so far down the line of chaos that you're playing Scrambleverse or Warp World or any of those real over-the-top strategies. Next, I'd like to include a little bit of chaos that happens to be a win condition as well. Let's talk about Hive Mind. 6 CMC for an enchantment, and whenever a player casts a spell, each other player gets a copy of that spell. Actually, this is really good. If you cast a stupid coin flip card, then each of your opponents gets a copy, and it doesn't do very much. And even if they win their coin flip, if you have a commander out, you get to draw a card. Or if you have your other berserker that I can't pronounce out, you get to double his power and toughness. So copying spells is pretty great with Hive Mind. And also, we have the added backup of being able to play a card like Pact of the Titan and Pact of Negation. If we play these cards for 0, each of our opponents gets a copy. And then as it comes around to their next upkeep, they have to pay 4 and a red, or else they lose the game. What happens if they're not playing red, you ask? They lose the game. Or Pact of Negation, they have to pay 3 blue. What if they can't play 3 blue? They lose the game. We can also include a card like Teleria West to search up these packs, making Hive Mind a nice little package that works with coin flipping, but also is a powerful way to end the game. There's another card that is similar to that. Eye of the Storm is super weird. Whenever a player plays an instant or sorcery card, you remove it from the game, and then you get copies of every instant or sorcery card that was ever cast. And so for coin flipping, this could be great because we get multiple casts out of each of our coin flip cards. That's what we want. And if we just happen to cast a Pact of the Titan or Pact of Negation under the Eye of the Storm, then we kind of lock our opponent out of playing the game for fear that they'll lose it on their upkeep. Another chaotic creature has to be Perplexing Chimera, allowing you to exchange control of this creature with another spell. This is an awesome counter spell that essentially changes the nature of the game. This is very similar to another chaotic strategy like Confusion in the Ranks. And if our deck is just filled with 1/1 elementals, then confusing those for your opponent's great creatures could be really, really good. And of course you can combine both of these with Homeward Path, getting you your creatures back again. So you play a creature, you steal one of theirs, and guess what? Oops, you get yours back. You have a Perplexing Chimera, I'm going to steal your spell, you get my Chimera, and then Homeward Path it back to my side of the battlefield again. I have one more strategy that supports creating tokens, although not necessarily supporting playing other creatures, and that's a Polymorph package. If we're putting creature tokens onto the battlefield, then we can polymorph Indomitable Creativity or Proteus Staff them away into better stuff. With Polymorph and the staff, we can guarantee by our deck building to hit something that we really want. For example, we could guarantee that we hit the Frenetic Efreet, or we could just fill our deck with winners. The Locust God, Niv Mizzet, Psychosis Crawler, all of these synergize really well with Zndrsplt, or even just another game winner like Blightsteel Colossus. I, on the other hand, think that if I were to have a Polymorph package that relies on a lot of token creation and then we can change them into something useful, I would run a couple creatures called Zodahedron Grinder and Mirrorwing Dragon. What do these do? Well, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zada or only the Mirrorwing Dragon, it radiates to each other creature you control. I use the word radiate because we can also run the card Radiate. So what do we do with a guaranteed Zada or Mirrorwing Dragon? Well, there are some cards that are designed for the Zada deck that are also coin flip cards. Aleatory, Chaotic Strike, and Fiery Gambit are great in the Zada deck. Basically, you can flip a coin, and if you win the flip, it gets +1/+1, and you get to draw a card. Those are the same for Aleatory and Chaotic Strike. That means that if you multiply this spell over all of your creatures, and hopefully we'll be creating some creature tokens, we can make a big team, but also draw a huge amount of cards and get crazy amounts of coin flips. Fiery Gambit, though, is a winner. Flip a coin until you lose a flip, or choose to stop flipping. If you lose a flip, Fiery Gambit does nothing, no effect. If you win 1 or more flips, it does 3 damage to target creature. Okay. If you win 2 or more flips, deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So, Fiery Gambit has the unique effect of still targeting something. So that means if you Fiery Gambit Zada, it will replicate the Fiery Gambit onto all of your creatures. Meaning, statistically, you have the ability to win 3 flips several times. But you might not even need to do that. All you need to do is win 2 flips in a row every so often, and then just 6 your opponents, 6 your opponents, 6 your opponents, 6 your opponents, and pretty soon they're dead. And if they're not dead now, they're gonna be dead when you draw 9 cards and untap all of your lands. To support this strategy, you should have some creature tokens out, like Empty the Warrens, Goblin Rally, Hordling Outburst, Release the Gremlins, Tempt with Vengeance. But having creature tokens supports the strategy of Polymorph, Proteus Staff, Indomitable Creativity, because you need creatures to get rid of in order to turn into amazing creatures. So not only does it support the Zada strategy, but it also supports the ability to polymorph them into something better. And of course, if we've got Zada and Mirrorwing and Radiate, and we have all of the cards that work with coin flipping and selecting them, we can also go one better and include cards like Open into Wonder, Slip Through Space, Shadow Rift, Touch of Invisibility. And with all of these, they can give unblockability, and we can radiate them out to all of our creatures, and specifically to our commander. This Eye of Chaos that I've butchered his name multiple times, but it doesn't matter, because he will get huge as we flippity flip, 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 and then we're gonna Shadow Rift him so that no one can block him, and we're gonna smash someone in the face. And it's all gonna come together with ultimate jank. So what did we learn about these two commanders? Well, we learned that they're gonna support a coin flip package that no other commander can handle. They should be perfect with as many coin flip cards as you have. But you need the right way to support them, and so you can support them through combo. You can support them through janky shenanigans with Zada and Mirrorwing Dragon. You can support them with just a little bit of chaos, a little bit of flavor, but also just solid value so you can still play a game of Magic. This has been a Deck Tech sponsored by TCGplayer.com. You know, a lot of prices of these cards have gone up. People are excited about this partner pairing. And so I suggest you hop onto TCGplayer.com. If you click the link in the description, you can see my deck list, you can see the prices, and you can shop a marketplace full of hundreds of different stores across the United States. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you patrons. You guys are amazing, and I'm so excited to talk about coin flips and Battle Bond, and be prepared because I have another awesome deck tech ready to go.